Hey you Mexicans, welcome back to this new video where today we're going to be reacting to see what happened to Sears. So what actually killed them? So with that being said, let's begin.
In 1969, one company was so dominant it made up 1% of the entire US economy.
Oh
They built
shit.
the world's tallest skyscraper and even sold actual
1% isn't much in the modern day, but back then it probably was something.
houses through the mail. They were the Amazon before Amazon. Fast forward to today, they're a ghost. From
They just don't
thousands of
exist.
bustling locations to fewer than 10. So, how did a $92 billion empire completely vanish into thin air? The answer involves a fatal internet mistake, a hedge fund heist, and a specific, tragic decision that handed the world to Amazon on a silver platter.
Here we go.
Sears started in 1886 when Richard Warren Sears, a railroad station agent in Minnesota, began selling watches through mail order. The following year, he partnered with watchmaker Alva Curtis Roebuck, and Sears, Roebuck and Company was born. But the real transformation came in 1895 when Julius Rosenwald joined the company. Rosenwald brought business acumen and capital that turned Sears from a small operation into a retail empire. What made the revolution was that they created a catalog that brought the entire world to rural America. Before Sears, if you lived on a farm in Kansas, your shopping options were whatever they had in the local store.
And that's not good.
With the Sears catalog, you could travel the globe through hundreds of pages that offered everything from clothes to furniture to entire houses. And between 1908 and 1940, over 70,000 Americans did exactly that. Sears offered the same prices to everyone, whether you lived in New York City or a tiny town in Montana. They had also had a money-back guarantee, which was rare at the time, and they built massive distribution centers that could ship products anywhere in America within days. In 1906, they built a massive complex in Chicago that could process 100,000 orders per day. At the time, it was then the world's largest commercial building. But Sears didn't stop with catalogs. In 1925, under the leadership of General Robert E. Wood, they made a brilliant strategic pivot. Wood recognized that America was changing. More people were moving to cities, buying cars, and wanting to see products before purchasing. So, Sears opened retail stores, a lot of them. By the 1950s and 60s, Sears was opening stores in every major shopping district and suburban mall in America.
Yep.
And it worked spectacularly. By 1965, Sears had a market value of just under $9 billion, or $92.1 billion in today's dollars. Sears wasn't just a store, it was where America shopped. Sadly, that wasn't going to last.
Turning a new page. Here we
In the
go.
1960s and 70s, Sears made a series of decisions that would eventually destroy them. The first mistake was their approach to suburban expansion. Through their subsidiary, Homart Development, Sears built and developed shopping malls. They'd construct a mall, put a Sears store as the anchor, and lease space to other retailers. Sounds smart, but the problem is that they were helping their competitors by leasing out spaces to stores that competed directly with them.
And that's
They were
not
literally building the infrastructure that would allow competitors to steal their customers. The second mistake was even worse. They stopped innovating. While competitors like Walmart were revolutionizing retail with computerized inventory systems and efficient supply chains, Sears stuck with their old ways.
Which
Walmart
is not good.
opened their first Walmart Discount City in 1962. The same year, Sears opened their first store in a shopping mall. Walmart was obsessed with efficiency. They used computers to track inventory, negotiated ruthlessly with suppliers, and passed savings to customers. Sears, meanwhile, were fat and happy, convinced their brand loyalty would protect them.
No.
The result? By 1991, Walmart had passed Sears to become America's largest retailer. Sears had held that title for decades. and they lost it to a discount chain that had barely existed for 30 years earlier.
Walmart.
It was a humiliating warning sign that Sears completely ignored.
Chapter
In the
3.
1980s, while Walmart and others were quietly gaining on them, Sears decided they didn't want to be just a retailer anymore. They wanted to be a financial services powerhouse. So they went on a buying spree. They already owned Allstate Insurance. In 1981, they bought Dean Witter, a major brokerage firm, for $607 million. They bought Coldwell Banker, a real estate company, and in 1985, they launched the Discover Card. The idea was to create a financial supermarket. You could come to Sears, buy a refrigerator, get a mortgage from Coldwell Banker, invest with Dean Witter, and pay for it all with your Discover Card.
Hell
On paper, it sounded like a great idea. In reality, it was a disaster. The problem was simple. Sears management didn't understand financial services, and financial services executives didn't understand retail.
Buying too much causes problems. It's the whole Family Dollar and Dollar Tree thing all over again. The split doesn't work.
The cultures clashed. Resources that should have gone into improving stores and competing with Walmart were instead poured into businesses Sears had no expertise in. By 1992, Sears was forced to put most of these businesses up for sale. The diversification experiment had failed, costing billions and years of focus.
That just doesn't
But that mistake
work.
and the growing threat of other businesses isn't what brought Sears down. That was down to human error and forgetting their roots. In 1993, Sears made another catastrophic decision. They discontinued their catalog. The very thing that had built the company and that had revolutionized American retail
Oh, you fucked up. You just fucked up there, bro.
was ended. Sears laid off 50,000 employees and closed 113 stores.
And the
The
catalog
official
can cause
reason was that
problems.
the catalog was losing money. But the tragic irony is that it happened just as the internet was emerging. Sears had everything they needed to dominate e-commerce. They had a century of experience in mail-order retail. They had massive distribution centers. They even had an early online service called Prodigy, a joint venture with IBM that was one of the first internet service providers. Prodigy launched in 1988 and offered online shopping years before Amazon existed.
They had
But
the
Sears
infrastructure,
never
bro.
fully committed to it. They saw the internet as a threat to their stores, not an opportunity. So they got rid of the catalog, abandoned their mail order expertise. There was a brief moment of hope in the mid-1990s when Arthur Martinez became CEO in 1992. He attempted a turnaround, refocusing on retail, improved stores, and new brands. For a few years, it worked. Sales stabilized and profits returned. But Martinez retired in 2000, and the improvements didn't last. Sears were still losing ground to Walmart, Target, and Home Depot, and a new threat appeared. Amazon, founded in 1994, was starting to do
Walmart was the needle that put them to kill them. But Amazon was the needle itself.
exactly what Sears should have done. Amazon would soon come to claim a space that Sears should have dominated. In 2002, Sears tried another acquisition strategy, buying Land's End for $1.9 billion.
Stop acquiring things, dumbass.
The idea was to bring upscale clothing into Sears stores. But like the financial services diversification, it didn't work. Land's End customers didn't want to shop at Sears, and Sears customers didn't want to pay Land's End prices. It just made things more difficult without solving Sears' fundamental problems. Then came Eddie Lampert. In 2005, Lampert's hedge fund ESL Investments orchestrated a merger
Eddie Lampert was the one that killed it, bro.
between Kmart and Sears. Lampert became chairman and later CEO of the combined company. He was hailed as a retail genius. But what followed was one of the most spectacular corporate failures in American history. Lampert's strategy was simple: cut costs, sell assets, and extract cash. He slashed store maintenance budgets, so stores became dirty and outdated. He cut employee hours, So there was no one to help customers. He reduced inventory, so shelves were empty. And then he started selling off Sears's most valuable assets. In 2015, Lampert created a real estate investment trust called Seritage Growth Properties. Sears sold 235 of its best properties to Seritage for over $2.5 billion.
Oh,
then
shit.
leased them back at high rents. Sears got a short-term cash infusion, but now had to pay rent on properties it used to own. It was financial engineering at its worst. Then came the brand sales. In 2017, Sears sold Craftsman, one of its most valuable brands, to Stanley Black & Decker for $900 million. Craftsman tools had been synonymous with Sears for decades. Losing it was like Coca-Cola selling the Coke brand. In 2019, they sold die-hard batteries to Advance Auto Parts for $200 million. Sears was literally selling off everything that made it Sears. Meanwhile, stores kept closing. Hundreds, then thousands of stores shut down.
I hate this.
By 2011, Sears had peaked at nearly 3,500 stores. By 2018, fewer than 700 remained.
And here we are.
On October 15, 2018, Sears filed for Chapter 11 bankruptcy. By then, the company had $11.3 billion in debt and was losing hundreds of millions of dollars every quarter. In the bankruptcy filing, Sears announced it would close 142 more stores immediately. It was the end of an era. Lampert's hedge fund bought Sears out of bankruptcy in 2019, keeping a handful of stores open under a new company called Transform Holdco. But the decline continued. More stores closed. By 2025, fewer than 10 Sears stores remain in the entire United States. The company that once defined American retail is now essentially dead. So, what killed Sears? Well, everything. They failed to adapt to suburban retail properly. They diversified into businesses they didn't understand. They killed their catalog just as e-commerce was emerging. They refused to invest in stores and technology while competitors raced ahead. And finally, they fell into the hands of a hedge fund manager who extracted value rather than building it. But perhaps the biggest lesson is this: success breeds complacency. Sears was so dominant for so long that they couldn't imagine a world where they weren't on top. They had brand recognition, distribution infrastructure, customer loyalty, financial resources, every advantage they needed. They could have been Amazon. They should have been Amazon. Instead, they're a case study in how even the mightiest can fall when they stop innovating and start protecting the past instead of building the future.
All empires fall eventually. That's the moral story.
The collapse of Sears isn't just a business story. It's a reminder that in business, standing still is the same as moving backward.
Exactly.
To find out about another giant that thought it was too big to fall, click through and watch our video on Toys R Us above.
Well, it's actually below, but whatever. Anyway, with that being said, though, that ends this video. Don't forget to like and subscribe, and I'll see you guys in a new video. Peace out.